Welcome back to M Hood Fishing, everybody. On today's adventure, I am going to journey through Lower Algiers. That's where I currently am. Yeah, you're right. We're going to go visit drought-stricken river ponds. See what they look like today. I haven't been to these ponds in a while, and I figured I would do it today because we've got what looks like possibly several days of rain coming, starting tonight possibly. There's a 60% chance of rain much later tonight, so we got to do it. We might be having our drought broken this weekend, we might not. We'll just have to see how many inches we get. But yeah, got a good ways to go. Let's go. This is a Buddhist temple where I'm starting the video at. Pretty interesting. See it right there? Buddhist temple. Nice people here too. I've only gone a little bit from the Buddhist temple. This is Donner. Interesting A-frame house and lots of dump trucks on this route. Lots of debris on the side of the road too. Hopefully there's not too much or anything really bad. That's not the only Buddhist temple on the West Bank. There's a large community of Vietnamese that are actually Buddhists, and there's other Asian communities that are Buddhists too. So not going to be a lot of footage right before I get here, so I'm already here. Wasn't that difficult to get here. Times past it has been kind of sketchy, kind of hairy, but it went really easy this time. But even though it was easy to get here, I don't think it's going to be easy to do much here. I'm just not sure yet. I was going to go to the smallest one first, the smallest pond first, but cruising by, and I'm when you're cruising through here, I come across the larger one, then the small one. So I looked over, and just like you, I'm like, what is that? It's not good, let me tell you. Not good. I have not been to these ponds in a few months. Now this is the larger one, and we're on one end of it. The first end I come to, I usually go to the far end. This is what I've always thought to be the most shallow end, and it was deeper. It's kind of a rectangle, almost kidney shaped, but more rectangle shaped old sand pit. So it's not an oxbow, it is a man-made pond. It's like, think quarry, but with sand. Another term would be borrow pit. Used to not be able to walk right where we're walking because we would sink down in the mud. Oh, is there any water down there? We will see. Definitely do not see water quite yet, and I don't see like fish heads, fish bones, scales, or anything. But I see a lot of very healthy looking willows, so they must be feeding off something. It must be pretty fertile now that there's no water. Wow, I tell you what, I'm getting really far from the bike. Let's go back to it and use it, because that's what that bike is for, right? Riding places. This pond and the other one that I'll go to now get replenished by the river, but in yesterday's video, that pond is much closer to the river than this one or the next one we'll go look at in a second. So the river has to be really high to feed these. Outside possibility that someone drained this for some reason, but it's probably drought. And that amount of willows growing in it, I would say this pond is probably done unless there's the far end is still a pond. But yeah, the water could come back for sure. Oh man, fishing that, I don't see it happening. Oh, drought. Instead of making you wait, let's just see if this large pond is totally gone. Drought is one thing, but what I'm going to show you is another. It's not drought. It was the outside possibility I gave you. It's been drained. Drained, dry, totally gone. I started to feel that the possibility of it being drained purposely was more of a possibility as I came around through these woods, because the road has been cleared of debris and I could easily ride here, and it's just the sign of big machinery being used was like, okay, maybe, and yeah, they drained it. Not catching fish here. For a second I thought a little person was here jugging. Good luck jugging with those. The question, why? Why did they drain it? Some people are going to be like, oh, to stop people from fishing it. That is probably a very, if not the most expensive way to stop people from fishing a pond. So I doubt that is the real answer. The answer that I would be more likely to believe is that it's going to be a sand pit again in the future. We are not getting a river pond fishing video today. I'm not even sure if I'm going to be able to walk on this. Yeah, this is very soft, but look, just a little bit of water left right there. There's actually a lot of fish here. So they're dead though, right? You remember when I was walking along the banks of that first pond that's not there, that I said there's no signs of fish, like dead fish? And there's signs of dead fish here. There's probably dead fish over there at that pond, but the reason why I didn't see them is because it was drained, and this has not been drained. This is drought. This puddle right here, once I get up, I will zoom in on it. Look at it. That's full of dead fish. Technically, I'm still walking in the pond, because in better days in the past, this pond extended up into here, but we actually, believe it or not, we've been in a drought for a while. This is just the worst year, right? Whoa. Let me not walk through a spider web. Nobody used that word last year or the year before, but to be honest, our rain levels haven't been extreme for a while. It's just this year that word drought does come into play. I'm not going to find any water on this pond. I think that little puddle, that graveyard puddle, is it. There's another spider web I don't want to walk into. Yeah, the ground starts to go high right in there. This pond at one time was sizable during, you know, depending on the season, how much river came in here and how much rain we had. But for a while, this pond was not sizable. It was just in here where we don't have a canopy. You see where all the willows are tall? That's about where it was last year when I came to look at it. And then everything around here was not really walkable, just mud you would sink in. I wanted to go over there, but I don't think there's really much reason. I don't think we're going to find anything, but more of what we're seeing right here. Back over at the graveyard puddle, Here's a question. Who owns all of this? Who drained the pond really is the question, right? I don't know. This could be parish. This could be privately owned. It's not posted. Property between the levee and the river can be public. Parish, you know, if it's parish, it's public unless the parish doesn't want you in there. It can be privately owned. It could be one of those situations where it's owned by someone, but where they're at, who knows? You know, it's just kind of like, yeah, it might be in tax court or something, because they haven't, the person who owns it could be dead and the taxes are just building up until it becomes state property. So yes, it could be state. However, like I said, this area is not posted, so it could have been the parish that drained that. It could have been the company that has all their barges there. They could own that and they drained it. There is a parish sand pit just close to here going back that way. They could own it. Maybe the ownership of it flipped and that's why it's now drained. Who knows? But there were no signs that said that I couldn't be in there. There was nothing that said, M. Hood, do not pass this point. So, but that doesn't mean that the future won't have them. So, yeah, you're right. I don't see a reason to fish here. The river is actually very, very, very snaggy in this area. So, I usually would just come here for those ponds because, you know, they had big bass and other things in them. And now it's going to be many, many, many moons before I come back, if I ever do. It happens though. But this one, definitely an extreme drought situation, because it is an extreme drought. And we do have a few days of rain predicted coming up starting tonight. Hopefully it turns out to be what they say it's going to be, because we've already been through that situation where, oh, it's going to rain cats and dogs, and it, maybe a drop came down, if that at all. Yeah, you're right. Let me see what I'm doing here. Trying to pick my heart back up because it kind of sank for a second. It just sank because I really like that pond, but they drained it. Even though they drained one of my favorite bass ponds over here, as far as river ponds go anyway, I am still gonna fish. This is the pumping station on Donner. Look at it. If you take a really close look, you can see that it's been recently drained down by the pump. So they're expecting some rain, right? It's drained down, it's fresh, so they did it recently. There's going to be places that look like I can go, like right there, but probably not, because that mud is probably so soft I'm going to sink really fast. But we might be able to fish this a little bit and move on to other areas. It looks pretty shallow. Let's just take a look. I had this tied on already. It's just a shaky head by owner, 3/16 ounce June bug finesse worm. We'll work it off this wall here. Shaky heads are really great things for fishing the base of something like that. And since it's shallow, if there's just little bass here, well, we're throwing the right thing for that. It might happen, but it's not going to happen there. Gotcha. Oh, yeah, you're right. Whoa, Come here, Mr. Dink. Little dink, but yeah, there's fish in the video. I was hoping that it wasn't all grim today, but it sure did start out that way now, didn't it? I want to say son of something, but I will refrain. Thought I was filming. Nice. That was a really nice fight, a really respectable fight. Thought I was filming. I was talking just to myself. All right, the way I see it right now is the best bass fishing spot is getting its grass cut. And they're pretty busy over there, these parish workers. And I've been to a bunch of other places with doing different things with the shaky head and the jig. No avail. I think what I need to do is just sit down and see what kind of perch are over in this opening over here that I'll show you. And just wait it out. Got a few hours, maybe about 2.5 hours till dark. So maybe they'll be gone and I'll have enough time to try to catch another bass, but maybe not. Worm under the cork, like I was a child, like I am a child, like I'm a child again. Oh, tiny guy. Oh, this is a better fight. Oh, look at that. Look at that red ear. Look how yellow that body is, that belly. That is a very pretty one right there. I'm gonna let him go. Back in the bass spot. I just think this is probably the best spot to focus on because I had the most bites here. It's where this one canal dip dumps into Donner. You're preaching to the choir. We are switching gears. Homeboy here is out of worms, but I got plenty, so we're gonna sit down and catch some perch. I got a tub of red worms and I got night crawlers too. Gotcha. Yeah, it's not big. I can keep this for bait, catfish. Another bait size. Little bass. There we go. All right, guys, kind of a fun afternoon after all. Yeah, you're right. Thanks for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, and I will see you next time.